Well, hey guys, today I want to talk about 6 mistakes to avoid when using glycolic acid in your skincare routine. Glycolic acid can offer many potential benefits in your skincare routine. However, if you make these mistakes, not only can you jeopardize the results that you get with glycolic acid, but you could potentially make things like hyperpigmentation and the signs of skin aging even worse, which I'm sure you don't want to do. Glycolic acid is an alpha hydroxy acid. Alpha hydroxy acids are a group of ingredients that include glycolic, lactic, mandelic, as well as some others that help to exfoliate skin's outermost layer, the stratum corneum. They work to dissolve the glue between stuck together, dry, dead skin cells. They are water-loving ingredients. They are more focused on exfoliating that outermost layer of your skin. In contrast, you may have heard of another type of ingredient called salicylic acid. Salicylic acid, in contrast to alpha hydroxy acids, it's not water-loving, it is oil-loving. So it really likes to localize to oily surfaces of your face, especially getting down into the pore to exfoliate the pore. So that's a little bit about how they differ. If you want more details on how alpha hydroxy acids compare to salicylic acid, I'm going to direct you to a video I put out, I think last year, that explains everything you need to know about how these ingredients differ. I will link that down below in the description box. So alpha hydroxy acids are pursued because they exfoliate the skin, smoothing out the skin surface. They work to hasten the exfoliation process of the skin that naturally occurs anyway. And in doing so, they help not only smooth the skin surface out, they also help to hasten the clearance of some types of dark spots, hyperpigmentation, whether it be related to hyperpigmentation that's left over from a healing acne mark, or maybe hyperpigmentation from cumulative sun damage. Not only do these ingredients help smooth out the skin surface, but they also are hygroscopic, meaning they improve moisture retention in skin's outermost layer. The number one mistake that I see people make the most is, well, believing blanket statements about using glycolic acid. Blanket statements like, only use glycolic acid 1 time a week. Only use glycolic acid on days that start with W. Only use glycolic acid in the morning. Only use glycolic acid every 3rd day. Once you're in your 40s, you need glycolic acid. The product formulation overall influences to what extent the product exfoliates. As part of the overall formulation, you're going to have potentially ingredients in the formula that enhance penetration of the glycolic acid. For example, hyaluronic acid can enhance glycolic acid penetration into the skin. So you may have a product that is 8% glycolic acid. You may have another product that is 6% glycolic acid, but the 6% glycolic acid product could have some other things in it that make that glycolic acid penetrate more readily. Follow the instructions of the product that you intend to use rather than some blanket statement about how frequently you should use it. It's going to depend also not only on the product overall, but on your skin type and your skin needs. When you overdo it with glycolic acid, it can end up drying out the skin. And that may not be a problem for some people. They may be able to use it in such a way, or a particular product in such a way, and have no issues with dryness. But things change in your life, and you are not the same as everyone else. So for example, you may move somewhere that is a lot drier of a climate. Alpha hydroxy acid suddenly becomes a lot more drying and irritating in your routine. Or, with age, our skin is more vulnerable to dryness and irritation. You may have an underlying skin condition that makes you more vulnerable to dryness and irritation. So whatever you do, don't just follow blanket statements as far as how often you should be using it or that you must use it, okay? Everyone's needs are different. This second mistake I see a lot on TikTok. Assuming that a glycolic acid product is okay to use on every body surface. For example, the very popular glycolic acid toner from The Ordinary. If you go on social media, you're gonna find posts from people putting this pretty much every nook and cranny. And you don't want to do that because you can end up causing a lot of irritation if you use glycolic acid products that are, say, intended for the face, if you use them in certain delicate areas, like under the arms. You have factors going on under the arms that are much different than the skin on your face because you have more sweat trapping there. The skin under the arms is very delicate in comparison to, say, your cheeks and your forehead and your nose. And you have skin-on-skin contact. You have occlusion, you have friction, and you have sweat. All of these things can end up making glycolic acid really irritating for you. I came across a guy, he was considering using the ordinary glycolic acid toner to a body site where, let's just say, the sun does not shine. You don't want to do that. Yeah, you definitely don't want to do that. These products are not intended to go in those areas. You can also run into a lot of irritation depending on the glycolic acid product that you are using. If you apply it near the eyelids, delicate skin there. If you apply it to the lips, remember the glycolic acid works by helping to dissolve the glue between the stuck together skin cells in skin's outermost layer, the stratum corneum. Guess what? There is very little to no stratum corneum on your lips, depending on what part of the lips. There is even no stratum corneum. So that can be really, really irritating to the lips. So I don't suggest putting glycolic acid on your lips unless you want to potentially develop really dry, chapped lips. I say potentially because, you know, some products may not end up being irritating depending, again, on how they're formulated. That's not something, though, that you can really predict just by reading the ingredients. You really should just follow the instructions that are provided to you. And admittedly, some products do a better job advising their user base on how to use the product than others. The other territory where you can develop quite a bit of irritation with a glycolic acid, again, depending on the formulation, the product, is on your neck. The skin on the neck is very delicate. It's a lot more prone to irritation. That's not to say that you can never use these ingredients to the neck, but they can be a lot more irritating there. So just be aware of that. When it comes to the neck, you know, glycolic acid can end up being pretty beneficial for improving the look of sun damage on the neck. But you want to introduce it slowly. Start maybe, you know, one night a week and then increase in frequency to the frequency recommended on the package insert, you know, on the instructions, because again, you can get quite a bit of irritation. The other place that you want to be really careful with glycolic acid, I mentioned this in my blog over the weekend, you want to be careful with it in the little areas around your nostrils. You don't want to get glycolic acid in your nostril, the mucosal surfaces. Whew, that can really be super irritating. You want to protect those areas. The way I suggest doing that, as I suggest with other ingredients that can be irritating in this area, is before you apply them, put a little petroleum jelly around this area because it'll help protect from, you know, rogue product getting in there. Because glycolic acid performance outcomes is very dependent on the formulation overall, a mistake you can make is switching to a new glycolic acid product from, say, a different brand or a different product and expecting that you can just use it in your routine with the same frequency and get the same results. And you might be in for an unpleasant surprise because, like I said, some glycolic acid products, they may be a little bit more robust in terms of their penetration into the stratum corneum. So you may find, wow, why is this 8% glycolic acid toner so much more irritating compared to the 8% glycolic acid toner I was using from that other brand? This must not be any good. Well, no, it may just be that it penetrates a little bit more readily and you're getting more of a robust response. So again, when you change to a new glycolic acid product, if you decide you want to try something new, introduce it a little bit more conservatively, starting out, a couple of times a week and gradually increasing. And it can be sneaky with a glycolic acid. It's not like you put it on and the next day, all of a sudden you're irritated. That may be the case, but a lot of times, it's kind of gradual. Like for example, you use it consecutive nights in a row and things seem fine. And then all of a sudden, wow, my skin's like really dry, red, and irritated. And you may at that point not even necessarily make the connection that it's related to the new glycolic acid product. All right, number 4 isn't necessarily a mistake that's gonna, hit you in the face, but it'll hit you in the wallet. And that is assuming that glycolic acid always needs to be a permanent fixture in your skincare routine. For some people, yeah, they're gonna derive ongoing benefit from continuing to use a glycolic acid product as a permanent fixture in their routine. For example, if you're somebody who, due to changes in your skin around menopause with age-related changes, you have a tendency to build up dry, rough skin texture. Or maybe you have keratosis pilaris. That's a dry skin condition where you get a buildup of dry, rough skin around the hair hair follicles, usually like on the arms or the cheeks. Those are situations where you may find that your skin, it's a little slow to exfoliate dry skin. And in order to maintain smooth, hydrated skin, you do need to continue using it. That might be something for you. But for someone else, glycolic acid may just be kind of hand-holding on the way to getting your skin to back on track where it can do its own thing more efficiently. For example, a lot of people introduce glycolic acid, but maybe they haven't been so great about maintaining their skincare routine. So they have a lot more, buildup of dry, rough skin texture. Their skin is dull. They haven't been consistently moisturizing and things of that sort. The glycolic acid smooths things out, helps with improving moisture content. Well, then once the moisture content is improved, your skin exfoliates naturally on its own a lot more efficiently. And maybe you find that now you're doing your skincare routine, the skincare basics of cleanse, which again, exfoliates just by the action of cleansing. You cleanse, you moisturize, which moisturizers help maintain water content in skin's outermost layer. And of course, you're wearing sunscreen to protect against damage to the protective barrier. You're doing those three things now a lot more consistently. You may find that the glycolic acid isn't really doing that much in your routine. I mean, don't give skincare products so much credit. A lot of what comes down to maintaining that healthy, radiant glow really, oftentimes can just be attributed to the basics of cleansing consistently, moisturizing consistently, and wearing sunscreen consistently. And another example is on the body. If you're someone who has some dark spots on the body that you are looking to improve the appearance of, you incorporate glycolic acid into your routine and you get a brightening of those dark spots. They start to fade a lot faster. And then thereafter, you're really good about protecting that area from the sun or whatever the primary skin problem was that led to those dark spots in the first place is no longer active. Well, once the glycolic acid has helped to improve those things for you, you may be able to back away from it and just use a regular moisturizer without glycolic acid. So, something to bear in mind because I'm a big advocate of keeping your routine simple, fewer products, fewer problems. And so, it's nicer on your wallet and more time efficient. Don't assume that it needs to be a permanent fixture per se. One problem a lot of consumers run into is having some awareness of the factors that contribute to irritation. Having an awareness of what can enhance irritation and lead to skin irritation can be really a game changer for you as a consumer and really being empowered as to how you build your skincare routine and how you address negative effects of your skincare routine. And this is a problem a lot of people just are not, it's not common knowledge. So what are some things that enhance irritancy of your product? First of all, using too many products along with it can drive irritation. Like I said, some ingredients are going to enhance penetration of the glycolic acid. So if you start using many products, they can overall contribute to more irritation. It's like the law of diminishing returns. You keep adding products, but the more you add, the less overall benefit you're getting because you're starting to just get to an area of irritation. Now, this is a factor that a lot of people don't take into account, but water can be a contributor to irritation. A main scenario where you will encounter this is with frequent skin re-wetting. For example, people who wash their hands a lot as it relates to work. If you're washing your hands a lot and you're using a hand cream with glycolic acid to improve rough skin on the hands, well, that frequent re-wetting and reapplying glycolic acid, that can end up being pretty irritating. Things under occlusion, whether that be under your clothing, under a pimple patch, underneath a glove, all of those factors can enhance penetration and also the frictional forces on the skin and the trapping of sweat. All of these things can really enhance irritancy. One of the other pointers that I already made about mistakes with glycolic acid, and that is, putting it in all sorts of locations like under the arms, where you have a lot of these factors that drive irritancy: sweat, friction, occlusion. Also, another location people don't always think about is behind the knees. Behind the knees is a lot more vulnerable to getting irritated too, depending on your lifestyle. You've got occlusion from clothing, but if you bend your knee a lot, then you've got some trapping of sweat there in that space. Can really end up being more irritating with your glycolic acid, say body lotions, for example. Body site is a big factor too, in what can lead to a path of irritated skin. Eyelids, more vulnerable. Lips, more vulnerable. Neck. Sweat, likewise, can really drive irritation. So for example, if you work out, you get really sweaty, and then you mist yourself with a glycolic acid toner, well, it could be a lot more irritating for you, especially if that mist ends up, of course, getting on your eyelids. That definitely can cause quite a bit of eyelid irritation. It's not because the product is bad per se, but you're just using it in a way where these other factors make it irritating. And last but certainly not least, a big mistake when it comes to using glycolic acid that will not only undo the potential benefits, but also worsen things for you. And that is using glycolic acid and failing to protect your skin from the sun. So glycolic acid, it actually can make you more sensitive to the sun. First of all, anything that smooths out the skin surface allows UV rays to penetrate the skin in a more focused fashion. That per se doesn't increase your sensitivity to the sun, but it's just something to keep in mind. You're getting more focused penetration of UV into the skin. So you want to be protecting your skin. But glycolic acid specifically actually can change what's called the minimal erythematous dose. Basically the dose of UV required to begin to damage your skin. It can lower that dose, meaning you need less sun exposure to get, well, a sunburn, or if you have a deeper skin tone, to drive excessive pigment production and worsen your hyperpigmentation. So make sure you are protecting your skin. Unprotected sun exposure with glycolic acid, because of the enhanced photosensitivity, it can worsen sun damage cumulatively. And not only is that going to contribute to dark spots, skin yellowing, wrinkles, loss of elasticity, but it could potentially, put you at even greater risk for skin cancer. Be mindful of your sun exposure when you're spending time outdoors. Even the intermittent exposures, like, just running out to your car to get groceries, those things do add up cumulatively over your lifetime. So yeah, consistent sun protection daily is really what is advocated for this reason. Also, if you are indoors, take into account where you are sitting, and think about the fact that window glass blocks out UVB, but depending on the glass, it can actually allow plenty of UVA to come through, as well as visible light from the sun. And so UVA is going to damage the collagen in the deeper layers of the skin and set the stage for skin cancers, but the visible light that comes from the sun plays a big role in hyperpigmentation for deeper skin tones. Now, to what extent you're getting that exposure is going to depend on a lot of factors: how close you're sitting, the time of day, the glass, a lot of things. But use common sense. If you work from home and you like to have your desk right in front of the window and you're getting a lot of direct sunlight, consider, making sure that you are wearing your sunscreen. I think is a good habit to get into, not only for that scenario of sitting in front of the window, but just, for those intermittent exposures for sure. And when you're using glycolic acid, remember, you're going to be even more sensitive to those negative effects of UV exposure. So you definitely want to be protecting your skin from the sun when you are outdoors. Don't just rely on your sunscreen alone to protect you. Make sure you're reining in other sun protective behaviors, like wearing a broad brimmed hat, wearing sun protective clothing, seeking shade, and you want to try and avoid being outdoors for a prolonged period of time during midday. That's when UV rays are most intense. So if you like to spend time outdoors, like working out, try and go earlier in the morning or, in the evening time to cut down on exposure to those more intense rays. All right, y'all. So those are some mistakes, pitfalls you can run into with glycolic acid. Now, what is a good glycolic acid product that I would recommend? In the description box, I'm going to link some of my favorites, whether it be glycolic acid to moisturize your body and help with dry, rough skin and hyperpigmentation on the body, or for the face. You will find recommendations in that list that I've made in many other videos. And I'll also link some of my videos down below reviewing some of those products. So if you want to check that out, watch those videos. But if you guys like this one, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends. And as always, don't forget, sunscreen and subscribe. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye.